Hello, welcome to the August Energy Update. I'm Lee, I'm an intuitive, and every month I take the pulse on what might be showing up energetically, psychologically, or emotionally. Just a few of the themes in this month's update are the August energy fog, anger as a boundary, stabilization as the key to creation, and to rest or to transform. What phase of the consciousness shift are you in right now? Stay tuned for all of the details. Welcome everybody for the August energy update. You may have tuned in to last month's energy update for July, where I spoke about forced pauses and stops being an aspect of what we're moving through in the current months. Well, the big headline I was given for August, the first headline was the August energy fog. This month there is going to be a thickness in the energy which is designed to slow down your transformation, which can be very helpful because transformational energy has been very intense of late, as many of you will have been experiencing. But the other side of this energy fog and what it's designed to serve is to give you a pause or serve to help you find clarity. So traditionally when we think of fog, we think of it as something that conceals our view, and sometimes that can be unnerving. But actually in this case, the energy fog of August is serving a good purpose for all of us. It's slowing down some of the intensity and the speed of this time. It might seem a little disarming for you at times, especially if you're someone who relies more on control and patterns and regularity, and those are your comfort zones. It might be a little unnerving for you to feel like things have been stopped for you or slowed down in ways that you don't want. But there is a purpose to the slowdown. There is an energy that's moving through the planet right now that wants to pull us all forward. And why this fog is going to be important is it's going to give everybody some time to calibrate to what's going on and to allow you to pause. Whether you think you want to pause or not, there will be things that will come out of it, that will emerge from it. The next theme completely relates to that, and the question, it was a theme as a question, to rest or to transform. So we're all riding these highs and lows in the shifting consciousness that's going on in the planet. So if you are new to this concept, I know many of you won't be, but if you're new to this concept, it's that we're going through this time on the planet where a lot is changing and a lot is going to change in the years to come. So this rest or transformation question comes for you because we either need to pause and be still and catch up with what we've just been through. You know, especially if you're a die-hard spiritual seeker, there can often be a bit of an adrenaline rush or a drive to always be having the next breakthrough or always be going to the next healing. And of course, the truth is, if you're constantly doing that, you're never actually giving yourself any time to stabilize and to catch up with who you've become. So depending on who you are and depending on the day, you're going to either be in a period of time where you're getting to rest. And rest for you might look like joy and fun and play with other people. It doesn't necessarily mean taking a nap. But for others among you, it will mean that when you're able to rest more deeply than you usually would. So in amongst your work responsibilities, the responsibilities you have towards people in your life, is rest what is required for you in this month? And is rest something that you can give yourself? You might take a rest from social media. You might take a rest from your computer. It's going to show up in different ways for different people. But the flip side of this is the transformational energy that's waving through our world right now. So on any given day, you'll find yourself paused or you'll find yourself hurtling through and into a whole new way of being. So this might look like you are going through so many deep healings right now. There are things coming through you, coming to you, and leaving you that you perhaps didn't know you would ever be able to let go of. The healing energy is very fast, and if you stay aware with what's going on, you might be able to just look back on your last few months or your last few years and go, wow, that was something that really used to hold me or have a hold over me in the past. And actually, when I think about it now, I don't feel as emotionally triggered by it or intense. That's what I mean about the speed of healing now. And often if we don't stop and take stock of where we are, we don't even notice that these changes are happening, especially when you look at the rapid changes of the last few years. So to rest or to transform is the question. And you can choose to rest in your now if you feel like you need to calm things down. And the others among you, if you feel like it's time to get things going, what transformation can you bring to your life? But know that those two energies are hitting us, resting and transforming, and make a conscious decision about which one you want to ride. And if you feel like you've been riding transformation for quite a few months, this would be a great time to slow it all down. And equally, if you feel like you're ready for something new, what can you change in your habits and patterns this month? What can you allow in beyond your usual controlled environment? What can you allow in to take you onto that transformation wave so that you can move into something new? The other theme is both collective and personal, but I'm going to focus on the personal. So the headline is Togetherness Energy is Needed. Togetherness energy is needed. My guides will often talk about oneness and the state of oneness, and they say, in oneness, we recognize that we are all connected. We may be different, and we have different life experiences, we have different ways of seeing things, but ultimately we're all connected. We're here alive at the same time on Earth in the body right now, and so there is a connective thread that we all have. Of course, what we have seen rising a lot and being fueled in the last few years is division among people. We're seeing a lot of healing, but we're also seeing a lot of division energy, and certain groups or individuals would like to see us more divided as a people. Of course, that's not the way any of us want to go, and that's not where we need to go, because if we get divided, we don't have that energy of togetherness that we're going to need in the future. So the reason I was asked to focus on this month is for us to look at where togetherness energy and differences are showing up in very micro ways in our personal lives. So for example, can we recognize the togetherness that we have even through our differences? Be aware of nuances and honor the differences with those you love and connect with. So for example, you might be having a bit of a difference of opinion right now with someone that you love, or they're in a very different place to you and it feels a little edgy in your body, it feels a little tricky. By all means, go through whatever you need to go through with that person, but can you also try and see what they're going through? Because it will help diffuse the emotion. Doesn't mean that you will necessarily agree with everything that they say or all of the ways they behave toward you. You may still need to bring a boundary in, and you may still need to communicate what you need in the relationship, but you will be noticing more and more that the nuances of life experience that we're all going through, they're very particular to each of us. And we can love each other and be with each other while also recognizing, oh, they don't fully understand what I'm going through. I wonder if I fully understand what they're going through, and maybe I don't, but I can still love them across that. We don't have to be the same, and the truth is we never have been. We're all very multidimensional people, and so anybody who is trying to convince you that someone else's otherness is a threat to you, they're in a war mentality. They're basically creating the energy of war on the planet. Anybody who is running that program, it's either something that they haven't let go of, it's something they can't heal from. So be very mindful of the nuances in our differences right now, because whenever these things are going on collectively in a big way, for those of us who track energy and are sensitive and aware to these fluctuations, you'll notice it showing up very finely in your personal life. So for you right now, you might be in a whole new phase of being able to love and accept other people in a way you never have been able to before, because you're clear about who they are, you're clear about who you are, and you're clear that the two of you might never fully understand each other because you're having completely unique experiences of life. But there are enough shared values, there are enough commonalities between you that you can still be in your heart with them and still feel connected to them. So a hidden healing in this for many of us right now is going to be letting go of this idea of loneliness, the story of loneliness, because we're all alone and together on this planet, and both are true, depending on which way you want to look at it. So there's a major healing in that arc of togetherness energy and the nuances of our differences, which, even though we may have all been focused on it in a collective way in the last few years, this August and September, there is this flood of revelation coming on a personal level for many of us. So watch out for that and see if it shows up for you. It may already be. The next theme is stabilization is key to creation in these energies. So what can you do to stabilize and support your new normal? Small conscious actions. So what this means is, at the moment, while we're in this very kind of energy, which has been going on for a while and doesn't show any signs of slowing down, if you want to create either something new in your life or a project or a new level of relationship, how can you bring a certain level of stability to yourself? What is that going to look like for you? Is it that you're craving going for more walks because you feel like you're not really physically giving yourself everything you need, and you keep going, well, I could go for a walk 4 or 5 times a week, but you're not really doing it? If you want to create the new in your life, what new thing can you create in your pattern, your habit, that will help stabilize you so that you can create? Because that energy that I was talking about, it's very hard to create in that kind of energy when you yourself can't root on the ground. So this is going to relate to grounding. It can be everything from your daily routine of watering your plants or taking a walk around your block. Very small conscious actions. Stabilization of you, your nervous system, your patterns is going to help you create. So have a think about that. Are there any habits or routines that you would like to adopt or stick to for a week or two? And just pay attention. When you bring those things in, does it help you become more productive in the ways you want to be productive? Creating more of the life you want to see, or creating more of the things that you're working on? Stabilization that you bring in for yourself is going to be key to creation in the month of August. The next theme is allowing change at an all new level of acceptance. Allowing change at an all new level of acceptance. Some of you will already be noticing this, but we've been experiencing and allowing a flood of changes on the planet, in ourselves, and what it does is it creates a shift in your consciousness as well as your experiences. So we could say, if a relationship breaks up, for example, unexpectedly, and all of a sudden that person who was in our life, whether they're a friend, whether they're a partner, whether they're a business partner, they're suddenly no longer there. Yes, the experience, the pattern that we were in has suddenly changed. The person is no longer there. We now need to find a new business partner, or we need to notice there is a gap in our friendship group. We have a very physical reaction to that change, but we also have a complete shift in consciousness. Because every time something shifts in our physical environment, we have an opportunity to look at it differently, respond differently to the way that we used to. And that shift in consciousness is what we're in right now, which is why there are so many physicalized changes going on around us. But the key to this theme, and it's something that I know many of you will already be feeling and feeling present with in your heart, is, oh wow, I'm allowing change at an all new level of acceptance. I'm more aware that change is the only constant in life than I've ever been in my life. And that's coming because of the visceral experiences of change that we're having. And why that's good is there is less emotional reactivity or trying to hold on to the past in ourselves. And when we're trying to hold on to the past, we're trying to hold on to lower vibrations. So one of the things that we're dealing with as a world right now is the vibration of fear, the vibration of control, and we know what those two energies create in the world, and it's not good. So even though they're par for the course and they're part of our human experience, as we move through this consciousness shift right now, we're all being asked to lighten up, brighten up, and drop some bricks as we go. So many of us will now be able to look at our lives and go, oh wow, I'm really allowing this to happen more than I ever used to. And that creates a whole new level of continuation in you as a person, as a being. You'll be able to let new things in faster. It can be a little unnerving at times. Sometimes you're like, oh, hang on, where's the ground? Or where's the way I always used to do things? But it's okay. It's par for the course right now. So allowing change at an all new level of acceptance will be a place that many of you have reached. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're getting mad at yourself or at me because of what I'm saying, because you don't feel that you're accepting where you are, that's okay. You're in the transformation, like we all are. We all go through our own version of tantrums or trauma release whenever we're deep in the heart of a transformation. So your time and your moment with what I'm talking about will come, and that's how it is for all of us. We all go up and down in this healing cycle. So don't beat yourself up if you're listening to this envious of who those people are. Right now, commit to your transformation process and do what you can to make it easy on yourself as you go through it, particularly if it's causing that level of stress in you. How can you support yourself a bit more right now and recognize this is tough for you? So that's another thing to bear in mind. The next theme is second guessing your choices. This was an interesting one because I think this is something that many of us can identify with having done. You know, you make a decision and then you're like, oh, I don't know if I made the right decision. Wondering about your choices and second guessing yourself, it relates to our ties with the past and birthing new ways. So we tend to have our past habits, our past experiences, and they're our safety. We rely on them. You know, we've got loads of great habits that many of us love and enjoy every day, and they help us and they're part of who we are. They don't have to go away. But there are other habits that either by outer circumstances or an inner desire, we're beginning to let go of. We're beginning to change. And so when we second guess our choices, it tends to be that we're not making repeat choices. We don't tend to second guess a choice that we've made a million times, unless you know it's time to change that choice and you're questioning why you can't. No, we tend to second guess when we do something that's a little out of our comfort zone, when we're pushing ourselves forward in a way that's new for us. So second guessing your choices is going to be par for the course of you creating new things in your life. You suddenly decide you're going to book yourself on this course that you've always wanted to go on, but you're a bit scared to do it. But you finally book the course and then you're like, oh God, did I do the right thing? You're doing something very new. You're moving out of your comfort zone. You're trying to birth new futures for yourself. So second guessing your choices is going to be a shadow aspect for many in this coming month as we move into really stepping into who we are here to become. And in the July energy update, I'm being reminded there was a theme which was be unafraid to shine. Be unafraid to shine in your life. And that doesn't mean standing on a stage necessarily. It's just letting yourself be fully present and showing who you are, regardless of how you fear others might perceive you or others may perceive you. Just letting yourself come through. So second guessing your choices is often a kickback effect when we are being a bit braver and doing things in a new way. And that's very much in the energy for many people right now. Anger as a boundary with people and the world at large. So anger is a boundary. You know, whenever we feel anger in ourselves, sometimes we're feeling that anger as a trauma response to a trigger. So if somebody comes and says something to us that reminds us of a time that someone really hurt us or wounded us, Anger may rise as a defense to defend that wound. And you might blame that person who's just put their finger on your wound. The other side of anger is anger as a boundary. And I know this can be very common for many people who aren't as good at saying no, or who perhaps are used to people pleasing and putting other people's needs before their own and at the expense of their own. Anger is a great signal that there is some part of your body that wants you to say no, even if your own mind isn't ready to say no. So the thing about anger that tends to scare us is we worry it's going to hurt other people, or we will use it in a very destructive way. And of course, those things are possible. But notice when that fire in your body comes up, and you don't have to throw a fireball at somebody. And in fact, that's just going to give you something you then have to clean up or apologize for. If you can let that fire be a signal in your body that there is a part of you that wants to do things differently and wants to say something different to what you would normally say in your programming, that's going to be huge for you. And anger as a boundary is coming up for people at the world right now, angry at the world, angry at the shadow of the world, angry at the things that people are doing, but also it can be showing up in personal relationships because the collective and the personal, they're always colliding and dancing with each other. The good news is that on the other side of anger lies heart opening and rebirth. So if you can let anger be the messenger for you that it needs to be and allow it to cause you to sit back and reflect and go, okay, well, before I take action or before I speak, what is this anger telling me about myself or this relationship? What am I being asked to learn? And heart opening can be on the other side of anger. So for example, if someone is asking you to do something or speaking to you in a certain way and it makes you angry as a defense mechanism, you may then choose to communicate your truth and say, every time you speak to me that way, I feel very belittled by you. Are you intending for that, or is it unconscious? I just feel like I have to tell you because it's triggering for me. That might be the conversation that forever changes that dynamic with that person. That person might go, oh, God, no, I wasn't even aware of that. That's just how we speak to each other in my family. I didn't realize I was hurting you. So anger as a boundary can be a clue as to what we need to change, what we need to say, what we need to do differently. But then on the other side, our hearts can open again. Anger will often defend us, and it will defend our heart. So just a few things to think about. Obviously, anger is a complex topic, and there are many different reasons that anger comes up. But in this case, that is what I'm asked to illustrate for you for the month of August. Last couple of themes are the light energy in August is coming in strong and will be causing friction at times. It's interesting, you may have heard me speak about, my guides have said a lot in the last few years that we're in energetically a little bit of a battle between light and dark. And they say it's always been on Earth, it's always been that way, but it's rising right now. So whenever strong waves of light come in, it can cause friction, it can cause a bit of a battle energy. It's no different to you going up to somebody in a very loving, open, hey, how are you? I want to give you a hug. And they're defended against that and angry that you're coming at them with that level of love. It's not your fault. They're just being who they're being. So often a certain level of light can clash with what we might call darker energies or lower vibrations. So we've got a lot of high vibrations and low vibrations at the moment, and sometimes they're just clashing and aggravating each other. So pay attention to that. It might show up in your relationships. You might be like, whoa, I didn't think I was being bad to that person, but they just had a really bad reaction at me. The frequency just might be clashing. So if you're feeling particularly light, take it elsewhere. Don't bother them or bug them. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily lower than you as a person. It just means in that moment, they might be going through some kind of transformation that requires them to be exactly where they are. And too much light aggravates that process for them. So be mindful of not looking at it in a hierarchical way, but do be mindful of this light wave that's coming in and how it can provoke lower or more contracted energies. And just see if that shows up in your life and take course corrective action as needed. And lastly, this is a theme that was quite strong. And my sense of it is this is really a theme for the next 6 months to 12 months. It's kind of an ongoing one. But the question is, will we listen to nature? Nature wants us to change and shift. Will we listen and will we respond? It will speak louder if we don't. So the sense that if we as a people don't start acting more in harmony with nature in the coming years, nature will speak to us. So this is a bigger question. It's interesting. I know there has been a lot of talk about the climate lately, and we're in this very interesting time where there is a level of passivity and denial, and also a very important time where the people on the planet, how much can we influence the leadership? Are we allowed to? That's an interesting dance that we're in right now, and an interesting awakening for a lot of people that we aren't necessarily allowed to influence in the way that many of us would like to. And what's going to come of that in the coming years? So will we listen to nature is a general theme, and one of the ways that we personally can do the best that we can is to connect with nature in whatever way we can. And nature will always be your ally. Whenever we are in nature, it opens us, it reopens our senses. Sometimes that's why nature can be a bit overwhelming to people who aren't as used to that sensory energy environment. People who have not really experienced that, it can be a little alarming because they're not used to it. But nature, and the more time we can spend in nature and the more we can have a relationship with nature, it keeps us connected to our senses. So it's very important. Those are the themes for August. I hope you find some usefulness in a few of those themes, or maybe many of those themes, and thank you for tuning in. This month we are completing our transmissions course. It's not too late to join. You will have access to all replays. You'll have lifetime access to the material. Transmissions is a time each year, usually in the summer months here in our hemisphere, where I give over to the Z's, my guides, and I ask them to bring in messages and energetic transmissions that are designed to meet us right now in this moment. So it's been really powerful. Thank you to those of you who've joined and been a part of our worldwide community this past few weeks. And it's not too late to join. So we'll put the link underneath this video if you want to check out more about transmissions. Please do, and we'd love to have you join us if it resonates. The portal is my monthly members community where I can give support in an ongoing way and in a deep way. So if you enjoy what I do on this video or on any of my free videos, it might be worth you giving the portal a try for a month. You get so much content in there. There's a wealth of material that will help you thrive in these times and also give you support in these times. It's often called a sanctuary and a school for sensitives by our members. So check out the portal and see if it resonates with you. We'd love to have you in there at least for a month and see what you get from it. And then finally, I'm thrilled to announce that in September, my next book is coming out. It's called Conversations with the Z's, and it's my second book, and it's channeled. You know, it kind of came about by accident, as these things often do. A psychotherapist, Diana Edwards, who is also a spiritual old soul, is in conversation with my guides, and the conversations have been fascinating because of her psychotherapy perspective, her groundedness. It creates this energy in the conversations, and so book 1 of Conversations with the Z's will be releasing mid-September by New World Library. You can follow the link underneath this video to find a copy of the book or the audio book, and yeah, we look forward to that being out in the world. But for now, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will see you next month. As we continue to navigate these very changing times on Earth, I'm really happy to be bringing back transmissions. This is my summer channeled online experience, now in its 3rd year. Every year is unique, just as the last few years have brought radical changes to all of our lives. This year, the theme is Elevate Your Vibration. My guides have given me 4 sets of themes which they want to deliver across 4 live broadcasts. The beauty of being live together for each broadcast is I get to be in person with your community energy, but if you can't make it live, don't worry. Everything will be video replayed, archived, and you'll have lifetime access to the material. The themes we will be looking at each week are allowing abundance and presence into and through you, cultivating joy, love, and peace, and creating with those in the world, integrating new levels of clarity, awareness, and healing with ease, and finally, rising into your highest purpose on earth. You can experience it as a healing, a shift, an inspiration, and many of our past participants have talked about the impact it has had on their lives and their year ahead. To support you through the journey of the course, you will have access to a private community forum away from social media so you can share with other participants. There will be written transcripts of each broadcast that will accompany the replays. Stephen Washington will be bringing a special Qigong sequence to the course. We have a series of video and audio integration support tools from me and members of my team. And lastly, a 10-track downloadable compilation music album from artists at Golden World Music. To check out more details about this experience and to see if it's for you, you can visit my website leeharrisenergy.com or use the link underneath this video. If it resonates with you, we would love to welcome you to join us for Transmissions 2022.